Hey everyone, finished watching the last couple of Reversion series episodes. First up, Peace, Love, and Woe. Billy has a new girlfriend, Marge, and Rita's latest monster, Madame Woe, accidentally kidnaps her, mistaking her for a ranger. The Rangers rescue Marge, and the Rangers destroy Madame Woe. I'm kind of getting tired of talking about Mighty Morphin at this point. I don't have the seething hatred of samurai most older fans do, but I'm also not the biggest fan. After watching so much early Mighty Morphin, though, I welcome it. The effects this time are pretty weird. Madame Woe gets a bunch of weird colors surrounding her first appearance. It's obtrusive, but at least the original is still there. Billy and Marge get little hearts, of course. Bulk's filthy bare foot is made even more disgusting with the addition of stink lines and flies. I'm not sure why this episode was pushed nearly the end of the YouTube playlist. Tommy isn't present, and the events of this episode were already featured in Island of Illusion Part 2. This should have gone at the beginning, before Green with Evil. Next up, Calamity Kimberly. Kim's having a bad day, and Rita decides to make it worse with a new monster. The monster, Samurai Fan Man, traps her in a jar. Zordon contacts the Rangers and fills them in on what's going on. The Samurai Fan Man grows, and the Rangers call the Zords. Without Kimberly, they can't form the Megazord, but luckily Tommy is there with the Dragon Zord. As it turns out, the Pterodactyl Zord isn't needed to form the Dragon Zord fighting mode. Huh, I didn't even realize that. They free Kimberly and can now form the Ultra Zord. With its power, they manage to defeat the Samurai Fan Man. The Rangers watch a news report about the Power Rangers, and the TV explodes. A fire effect and broken glass effect covers the final shot of the Rangers laughing. I like this episode. Most people seem to like this one. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, though. The effects added are kinda neat, but as usual, they're arbitrary. There's a bit I like in this one where Bulk and Skull are fooling around, and a janitor sits down and waits for their antics to pass. He's just in the background. It's a subtle gag, but it made enough of an impression on me that I drew him from my original rewatch picture. There's a lot of weird little things in this episode that don't affect the plot, but they're what make this episode fun. One odd thing with Mighty Morphin, for all the criticism it gets for using strange stuff from Zyuranger, MMPR actually leaves out quite a bit of the more outrageous stuff. Here, though, we have the Putties apparently running a restaurant.
Putty Bowl Restaurant.
They even have little uniforms. I have no idea if this is a result of the Fan Man, or if some Putties just randomly decided to become entrepreneurs. This is another one of those odd Season 1 episodes where Goldar's voice goes back and forth between sounding like how we remember him and how he sounded very early on. Next up, Dark Warrior. This is an episode I recall being very bored by in the past. I'm writing this part before actually watching the episode. From what I remember, it's a painfully standard episode about Trini's eccentric uncle teaching Billy some karate moves. Rita makes one of the most boring monsters ever, and there's an invisibility potion Trini's uncle makes that ties in somehow. Geez, I really want this over so I can move on to Samurai. Okay, I remembered the episode pretty well, not a whole lot to add. There is a cool scene where the American recreation suits for Goldar, Squat, and Babu sneak into Trini's Uncle Howard's lab to steal the invisibility formula. That's kinda neat. Uncle Howard is kidnapped and tied to an explosive. Billy uses his technical skills to disarm the bomb and save him. At the end, an effect is added that makes the team disappear in reference to the invisibility formula. Not as bad as I remember, but far from the series' best. Again, I don't know why this episode was moved so far to the end. Tommy isn't here. Maybe Disney wanted to get to his introduction quicker, but if that was the case, why not just skip these pre-Green with Evil episodes altogether? Last up, A Star is Born. Finally, the finale. Kinda. Because the reversion follows Disney's 32-episode model, this results in the final episode awkwardly being just another standard episode. Auditions are going to be held at Angel Grove High for a karate commercial. Tommy is going to try out for it, and so is Bulk for some reason. Bulk makes a fool out of himself, and Tommy legitimately impresses the casting directors. While that's going on, Scorpina has a silkworm monster that traps the Rangers in a cocoon. They escape, but must now battle the monster Babe Ruthless. After defeating him, they defeat the silkworm monster. The next day, both Bulk and Tommy tune in to see if they made the commercial. They're both featured. Bulk is presented as a fool, which he is, while Tommy is presented as legitimately talented, which he is. This is such a weird episode to end on. Personally, I think they should have skipped a few episodes here and there and have Doomsday, the two-parter, as the finale. I don't think those are very good episodes either, but they have more of a feeling of finality. Despite this episode not being intended as a finale, the crew tries to push it like it is. The thing that really stands out here is a big montage of scenes with newly added effects. It really helps illustrate the scale of what's been done. The final shot freezes on the Rangers, and since Tommy isn't there, they have him pop in at the last second. So there's the entire Reversion series. At first, I was glad to have a change from the Disney seasons and go back and rewatch some older episodes. Now, though, I'm happy to be moving on. As much as I love Mighty Morphin, I don't have much to say about it. I'm glad the series evolved and moved on, at least for a while. At the end of a season is where I talk about a season's legacy, and so I guess I'll go over Mighty Morphin a little. Just a little. Mighty Morphin ran 3 seasons, had a non-canonical movie, and ended on a mini-series that led into the first of the series' many annual rebrands. Zeo changed some things up while other things went back to basics. We then got the Turbo movie, which just skipped over whatever happened after Zeo and dumped the audience into the middle of a new story. The original cast had mostly gotten switched or written off by now, leaving only Tommy. He'd hand his turbo powers over to a new ranger along with the rest of the old cast. Bulk and Skull hung around, getting involved in various shenanigans. Even without the old Rangers, the original storyline continued. Zordon and Alpha had been transported back to Eltar, but it was under attack. Zordon was captured, and the new Rangers would go into space to rescue him. Eventually, the original storyline concluded. Zordon sacrifices himself to defeat the massive villain assault. Rita and Zed were purified and became human. The next season, Lost Galaxy held over a few of the old elements. Bulk leaves for space with a scientist, Phenomenus, but they forget Skull and leave him on Earth. Alpha 6, Alpha 5's successor, sticks around as an occasional source of information for the Rangers. There'd be team-ups and callbacks for the next couple of seasons, but it wasn't until the 10th anniversary episode, Forever Red, that we had solid Mighty Morphin elements brought back. Tommy assembles a team of Red Rangers, including Jason. They go to the moon to defeat a group of bad guys, and Orico, the Red Alien Ranger, shows up to help. Bulk and Skull get cameos. After that, Dino Thunder brought back Tommy, now a doctor, and magically decades older despite only being like 27 timeline-wise. Dino Thunder took a lot of influence from Mighty Morphin. It was set in a high school, had dinosaur-themed powers and characters inspired by the original team. Connor the Red Ranger is an athletic guy, though he's more into soccer than martial arts. Ethan the Blue Ranger is the smart one, like Billy, but more on the comics and video games side. Kira, the Yellow Ranger, is a singer and musician, like Kimberly occasionally. Trent the White Ranger has turned evil for a while and gets an evil clone, just like Tommy. A team-up with Ninja Storm brings back Lothor, that season's villain, but bizarrely with influence from Ivan Ooze from the '95 movie for some reason. The next season, SPD mentions a planet named Alpha 5, but I'm not sure if that was an intentional reference or not. Also, Z has a necklace that looks suspiciously like Lord Zed's Z. Mystic Force revealed that Rita became a magic being, the Mystic Mother. No mention of Zed. Operation Overdrive's Once a Ranger featured the alleged son of Rita and Zed, Thrax, and Adam, the second Black Ranger, returns to fight him. RPM's main villain, Venjix, is in a tube, reminiscent of Zordon. Then there's the Reversion series, and after that is where Mighty Morphin influence gets really overdone. Samurai's theme song is a remix/rewrite of the original Mighty Morphin theme. The score of the show takes heavy influence from Mighty Morphin's score. The main villain, Xandrid, suffers from headaches like Rita Repulsa. Bulk returns, caring for Skull's newly introduced son, Spike. The Rangers receive Mega Modes, armored outfits similar to the armor from the 1995 movie. Megaforce once again uses the remixed, rewritten Mighty Morphin theme. The characters and settings are heavily Mighty Morphin influenced, going even further than Dino Thunder. The Rangers share the same colors and are similar archetypes. Troy is the stoic leader and a karate master. Noah is the smart one. Jake is the fun-loving one. Emma is the introspective one, and Gia is the no-nonsense one. Emma and Gia are the Pink and Yellow Rangers, respectively. They're the only ones that kinda got switched. Emma, the Pink Ranger, is similar to Trini, while Gia, the Yellow Ranger, is more similar to Kimberly. The team are high school students, and a teacher, Mr. Burley, may have been inspired by Miss Appleby and Mr. Kaplan. Instead of the juice bar, the kids go to Ernie's Froyo. The manager is blatantly named after the original Ernie. The mentor of the team, Gosei, is a big head, like Zordon. He has a robot assistant, Tensu, like Alpha. Also, in a roundabout reference, his design is similar to the character Johnny Five from the movie Short Circuit because his name ends in 5, like the original Alphas? 2 Bulk and Skull-esque bullies appear in one episode. The second season of Megaforce was lighter on Mighty Morphin references. Tommy appears at the end with both his white and green powers. Dino Charge, despite having some similar aesthetic to Mighty Morphin, actually held off heavy references. The theme song still uses a bit of Mighty Morphins, though. The 2017 movie was an adaptation of the first season, particularly the Rangers first receiving their powers. They fight Rita, Putties, and a giant Goldar. It ends on the implication that Tommy will join the team next. Ninja Steel's theme song, once again, has the Mighty Morphin bit in it. The Rangers are high schoolers, and that's about where the Mighty Morphin influence ends. There's a bumbling comedic duo, but they're quite different from Bulk and Skull. The second season of Ninja Steel brought back several old Rangers for an anniversary episode. Tommy, Rocky, and Catherine all return, though Catherine sticks to using her turbo powers. Beast Morphers name-dropped occasional places and characters and featured Zed's staff. The second season had a couple episodes with Putties returning for some reason. The bad guys make a new Goldar with a new appearance and voice. Jason also returns after getting his power coin back after it was stuck in a meteor for some reason. What? Also, some other old Rangers return, but they don't talk because everything was wrong and the episode was terrible and nothing went right. Dino Fury brought Lord Zed back to life, forgot about him for several episodes, then brought him back again. They also rebooted the Morphin Masters. No longer a bunch of old beardy guys, now they're a bunch of weird white-armored knights. And the green one is responsible for screwing with the timeline, but no one cares. Once and Always is a belated tribute to Thuy Trang, the actress who played Trini. Nearly the whole cast is back, except Austin St. John, who couldn't leave the US to shoot in New Zealand because he was in legal trouble for wire fraud. And Amy Jo Johnson, who just didn't want to travel that far. Steve Cardenas, the second Red Ranger, takes Jason's place, while Catherine Sutherland fills in for Kimberly. Jason Frank was still alive at the time, but also turned down the offer to return. Rita is back as Robo-Rita and murders Trini. Huh. Alrighty then. Trini's daughter Min must step up and take on her mother's powers to defeat Robo-Rita and her new minions, Robo-Minotaur and Robo-Snizzard. An alpha robot is around to help Billy in a restored command center. Billy is trying to bring Zordon back to life for some reason. Alrighty then. The juice bar is recreated almost exactly in the present for some reason. Alrighty then. In Cosmic Fury, Billy leads the Dino Fury Rangers into space to battle Lord Zed, who is back again because the production crew doesn't know Thrax exists. Outside the show, we have comics. Marvel and Hamilton back in the day did Mighty Morphin and VR Trooper comics. Then Image and Acclaim tried their hand, but didn't get far. Paper Cuts did Samurai and Megaforce graphic novels, and then followed them up with Mighty Morphin ones. Boom comes in and did tons of comics, all set in a weird, darker, alternate take on Mighty Morphin. They met the Justice League, Ninja Turtles, Godzilla, and even most bizarrely, Usagi Yojimbo. Their comic was recently rebooted and now follows Lauren from Samurai, but not Lauren from the show. This is their own take on the character, and the world she inhabits is basically the same as the previous. Mighty Morphin is also the primary go-to for video games. I'm shocked Power Rangers didn't get all that many video games over the years. We got one or two for a couple of years in the early 2000s, but then they just stopped. There was Super Legends, which featured a couple teams and villains from across the series. Later on, we got fighting games, also featuring a diverse roster, and after that, we got online games. The latest toy line from Playmates appears to be exclusively Mighty Morphin, so yeah, Hasbro doesn't seem to know what to do with the property, but at the moment, it seems like everyone just wants to go back to Mighty Morphin. Personally, I think Power Rangers should just move on, try doing something with another season, maybe it'll take off, maybe they'll find a completely new fan base. So, next time is Samurai. I'm looking forward to it, kinda. Samurai is a weird season for Power Rangers, because it's one of those seasons kind of like Turbo or Overdrive, where it's pretty unpopular among the hardcore fan base, but outside the fan base, people seem to be totally cool with it. Like, I've met, casual fans outside of the fan base that exists on, Ranger Board and Twitter, and they like Samurai just fine, especially younger kids. Samurai came out at just the right time. It was the first season to be on Nickelodeon, which was, the most watched kids station, anywhere. So it being on Nickelodeon, and especially Samurai getting a really big promotional push, meant that a lot of kids saw it, and it was a lot of kids' probably first exposure to Power Rangers. So for that reason alone, Samurai has a pretty big impact, and yeah, Hasbro should probably be marketing to the kids that are grown up now and want Samurai stuff. I've actually talked with, like, fans who were, fans of Samurai when they were little, and now they're grown up, and they do like Samurai. After Samurai, though, they kind of fell off because Megaforce was, pretty objectively bad. So a lot of those fans kind of fell off after Samurai, but they still have a nostalgic fondness. They still have a love for Samurai and would love to see, like, I don't know, comics or video games or some, like, a reunion, or I don't think they could do a reunion special. Yeah. But, yeah, they could do something with Samurai, but they just won't for whatever reason. So yeah, Samurai next time. I'm kind of curious to look at it again, because I wasn't the biggest fan. I still liked it okay most of the time. It was probably a mistake to watch Shinkenger first, but, whatever. Aside from some stiff acting here and there, I think Samurai was okay. Anyway, I'll talk about it when I get to Samurai. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya in Samurai.
Baby genius, baby genius, baby genius, baby genius. February 7th at 8.